Hello there, my name is Joseph P. Buchanan. I am President of the Black Political Action Committee. We are here to welcome you in the community of Rhode Island, a place for real black community to be empowered regardless of the background or socioeconomic status. Remember, this is the Black PAC, who is trying to enhance the lives of black people everywhere.
This last portion is going to be really centered around the power and functionality of PACE. Before I go into it, I want to really thank you for taking the time to teach us these things, because what you're doing is really, really important for the development of future leaders. Because it's only through knowing these things and learning these things that we can pick up the knowledge and skills to make ourselves strong, because there are so few true resources out there to build strong leadership that is unyielding the way that your character has made you. So in this part, I'm really hoping to learn for the future leader. I want them to be able to understand the organizational structure of PACE and what they were good at accomplishing. So I'm wondering, how was PACE structured? I know there was a board and a director and staff, right? There were also voting blocks. And at one point there was a group that was centered around purely the crime and policing portion of things, right? Could you talk to us a bit about how the organization functioned and flowed, and just the different sides of what it was? Where was it located, and how did the meetings happen?
Well, Joe Cardozo was a president way back in the day. You know, and PACE was basically started through a bunch of people wanting something done through neighborhood black clubs. And, you know, people got together and said, look, we're having issues on this particular street. We should get together. So then everybody started forming these different type of block clubs. And it turned into a power base. I won't say a political base, because now probably it's supposed to be non-political, they say. So we turned it into a huge power base. And the most amazing part about the PACE organization is the voting block. Every area that was involved in PACE, if the people showed up, and it wasn't about registered voters, it wasn't about if you was on the list, if you showed up at that election, you voted. It was about getting as many people out as possible. That's how you win the elections. Just like you win these elections out here, it's the same way. You get the people out to support you, and you win.
What were they voting for?
President, vice president, secretary, treasurer. But what they were voting for was for the things they wanted in their community. So therefore, if they thought you was best fitted for their community, you won. And when you got 5 or 6 different communities, and they see you, they know who they want to vote for. There was no conniving and shucking and jiving. It went by who was the best, who was the strongest.
What were some of the things they were looking for in their leaders? What are the types of platforms? Platforms.
Strength, number 1. Commitment, number 2. Number 3, getting things done.
Right, but what kind of things did they want to get done?
Housing issues. Like I said, they wanted the slumlords taken care of. They wanted more control over the police. You know, they wanted better housing. those are the things that brought people together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back then they had a lot of homeowners, so they wanted the homeowners to do something. So my goal is to have homeowners and tenants together as one, not split it apart. Because what people don't understand is, until you pay for your home, you don't own it. So you're just a renter at a higher end. Because when they decide to take your home away from you, now, all of a sudden, you become a tenant. When you're always a tenant until you own your home. And this is why, in my opinion, that the homeowners and the tenants don't get along. Because those that think they own their house that is not paid for yet have a problem with people that are renting. And if they understood that they were renters too, they would make sure that the people over here that are renting this property off the people, house will be fixed up. Like the same person that owns the house keeps his house up.
So, aside from the voting block, what else was a part of the way that PACE was structured?
Just the way we maneuvered around different communities. You know, the way we got communities involved.
How many staff were there at any point in time?
When I was director, we had like five or six. And I'm talking about organizers that worked, that didn't believe in city.
So we left off, I was asking you how much staff was in PACE when you were director. Could you just start from there?
We had 5 or 6 staff people that did a tremendous amount of work, that always was out on the street organizing, getting people involved. And this is what organizers are supposed to do, which is to get people in the community involved in the issue that is essential to their community. And how they did that was being consistently going out there, shaping it the way it should be shaped, and making sure that people truly understand what their issue is. A lot of times, back in the day when I was there, we speak in layman's language so they would truly understand what their commitment was in their community and in this issue. If the issue was housing, we understood it. We allowed them to process it and allowed our people to speak on it. It wasn't only myself, it was the people in the community that were speaking. And that's what made it more powerful, because you had people that came out in the community that were speaking for their own issues.
So, when you were director, there were 5 or 6 staff people, is what you're saying?
Yes.
There was also the people on the board. Were there any other directly tied to the community, tied to the organization individuals? Everyone else was just the community, right?
Yes, and we had some ex-officials there.
Ex-officials.
Yeah, some ex-presidents, vice presidents that gave their input. Because one thing about PACE, it was an organization that took input from other community leaders and other past officials, elected officials.
So, of the 5 or 6 staff members, were they all focused on the same stuff, or was it split up or separate?
No, they was all doing different issues.
So, do you...
One did housing, one did police work, and then from time to time, we all worked on one issue or another. But most of the times, it was issues that concern particular neighborhoods. That's where the organizers were assigned.
So did you guys do regular meetings? How did you get...
Man, we did more meetings in college at Liverpool, man.
So...
And that's the thing about the community. When you do a lot of meetings, and they're engaged, they will come out. But when you give meetings, and people don't have an input, and you don't care about their thinking, that's when you lose organization. And a lot of times, in my opinion, these organizations do not give 3 shits about what happens in our community. Because in my opinion, sometimes the community doesn't like it. So when the community's lazy, it allows these community groups, it allows these organizers, it allows these directors to be lazy and get away with murder, in my opinion. Because I know somebody's going to slam me for that, but I could care less.
What were Pace's best skills in his prime? What were y'all's preferred way of doing things?
Kick your ass. And what I mean by that is, we confront the police, we confront the mayor, we confront no good slum landlords. We confront the educational system that is not teaching our kids. We confront from time to time, if necessary, drug dealers back then, prostitutes back then, because they have to understand that this is a way of living for them. So we have to let the community understand their whole. This is how they make their money. They are not bad people. They're people that make bad decisions. And how do we help them correct the decisions that they make? We have people that are ex-offenders, but they're not bad people. If we can't get our community to see that these are our people that are locked up, that are coming out here, and we can't give them a second shot, why should society? These are our people in the community that are being locked up, that are coming back out here. And I think the most important thing is that we show them love. And then we can get the minds and hearts opened up about ex-offenders, about rape, about child abuse. Because they know about it, they talk about it, but do they care? Everybody talks about child abuse. Everybody talks about rape. Everybody talks about ex-offenders. But do they really care to help them? And if you ask me, some of the men in this society, and a lot of white men, just don't care. I mean, I know it's going to sound like I'm racist, because this is what people usually say, but I'm defending my community and my people. And we've suffered this abuse. So anybody that wants to say that I'm a racist, or that I don't care about whites or anything else, is totally false. Because we have poor white folks that get raped, poor white women that get raped, and the white people don't care about them. So how are they going to care about us? I know it's election year next year, and everybody's going to be saying, you want Joe to support you because of this and that? If you truly believe in what I'm saying in the community and you know better, then you will. Because if you want to suffer election loss, then don't do it. I'm not afraid of you politicians, man. That's a good thing.
So, my final question about Pace is, what was it that was Pace's downfall?
Lazy people. The community got lazy, got complacent. The staff got overwhelmed because they thought they knew what they was doing. But doing this job, you have to know people, you have to have connections, and you have to have the faith in your community. When you don't do that, you fail. There's a lot of groups that hoodwink their community and get away with it. But things are starting to change now. Because as more people get educated, they're starting to see that some of these organizations are just there for themselves and not for the community. And I challenge any organization to say what they have really done for the community and how many people from the community have they hired. We know that y'all come into our community, but how many of us are directors, are deputy directors, are doing your books? You won't find them. So when y'all want to see me and talk to me, just be ready. Because I'm not coming with no nice language. I'm coming to you with the language of the streets, with the language of the community, with the language that I'm quite sure you can understand.
If somebody wanted to build an organization today that was like PACE, where would you tell them to start with what's in the community around us right now?
I tell them, first of all, to get people with heart and that are going to be committed, that are not scared if they lose their job, that they're going to stop fighting. Furthermore, I would say that I believe more organizations should be started because some of the ones that are up and running are no fucking good for the people, excuse me, in my opinion. Now you're getting my other side to come out. You know, because people are being hoodwinked. We have $1 billion in money coming from the federal government, and they're not talking about it on income. People, wake up. If you want to start an organization, you start with backbone. You start with commitment. You don't worry about what you can and can't do, because you don't know that until you try it anyway. The rules are right there for you, in black and white. So there's no excuse why you can't start an organization. There's no excuse why we, as a collective, cannot take over. I don't mean riot. I said take over. That means replace some of these so-called people in the city and state government that's supposed to be working for us and not working for us. That means taking over some of the appointments from the mayor and the governor to some of those folks that are not working for us, that are keeping secrets from us, that are lying to us. And there's a lot of people on the city and state staff that know it's not right, but they're too scared to speak. So what I say when you're going to do something, do it. That's it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to teach us about this organization and share with us a bit about the work that you've done for this community.
All I can say is this here. Young people, if you want something done, do it yourself. You have a voice, you stand up, you stand together, and you do it. Don't let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. This is your life. I'm a senior. I can just help you get into the direction that you're going. I can get you through them doors you can't get through. But I cannot do that without you. So, ladies, gentlemen, young men, young women, senior citizens, stand up. Run your mouth. Call the governor, call the mayor, protest. If the NRA can do it, we can do it. If the Ku Klux Klan can do it, we can do it. If the Black Panthers can do it, we can do it. Check that out. Everybody's going to be mad at what I just said.
Just for a moment, we'd like to make a nod to Project Basic, which was known as PACE's successor, and let folks know we'll be diving into that story in another video. For now, here is a clipping detailing Project Basic's birth. This has been the Black PAC Historical Series, a series meant to teach folks how to understand the past and use it to augment their future. Catch you guys around.
Later.